From summer sketch to my grandfather's stories to Mucha's Slav Epic, I discovered how art, family, and history are all connected. This is the continuation of my story, following Alfons Mucha's trail in the summer of 2025. After Ivančice and Piešťany, I went to Zbiroh and Moravský Krumlov. Zbiroh is a chateau and castle in one in western Bohemia. It took 2 buses, 2 trains, and a tram to get there from our home, about 5 hours through Prague. After arriving in Zbiroh village, we had to walk about 1.5 kilometers uphill to the castle. We had a room booked for 2 nights, and we were fully dependent on the castle restaurant for food. The first impressions were amazing. I loved the garden so much that I did my first plein air sketch there after many years, and then started my new sketchbook recreating the gardens at home in watercolor twice. Zbiroh felt almost mystical, a legendary place where Alfons Mucha lived for about 16 years and painted 20 huge canvases of the Slav Epic, a monumental series dedicated to his beloved nation, almost lost during Second World War. Fortunately, the epic wasn't lost thanks to some good people, and I knew one of them personally, my grandfather. After the Nazi occupation in 1939, Mucha was among the first artists summoned for questioning. He died soon after due to failing health. The canvases were later found rolled up in poor condition in a Prague school. The communist regime didn't care about Mucha, but my grandfather, who was a local teacher and later cultural officer, came with the suggestion to move it to Moravsky Krumlov, where he supervised their restoration and kept all the records. The paintings have been exhibited there since 1963. The cycle begins with the Slavs in their original homeland, vulnerable people living in wetlands between the Baltic and Black Sea. Raids and invasions threaten their survival, and the painting shows a village burning with survivors crouched in fear. Out of their terror rises a vision, a priest surrounded by figures of war and peace, symbolizing both the need to defend themselves and hope to flourish in peace. I admire the composition, colors, and the emotional tension hidden in the stillness of the figures. How Mucha painted it. The canvases were originally made as sales in Brussels, but World War I complicated their import. Mucha had to adjust the planned 6x8 meter size and even split some canvases to make enough material for all 20 scenes. He painted the backgrounds with egg tempera and added their details in oils. He started with tiny sketches, then made larger colored studies, which he traced onto the full-size canvas using a grid and pricked holes. Every day he spent 8 to 10 hours on scaffolding, carefully bringing these huge detailed scenes to life. After Jan Hus's death, pilgrims gathered across Bohemia, seeking to live like the first Christians. What began as a peaceful devotion soon turned into a call to arms. Václav Koranda preaches to a camp of pilgrims under stormy skies, while symbols of death and renewal surround them. The chalice, the banners, the lightning, marking the rise of the Hussites movement. Since learning about the Hussites at primary school, I have felt righteous anger at their enemies. Maybe Mucha felt the same, which is why these paintings speak to me so strongly. For the Slav Epic, Mucha abandoned the bright colors of his posters. He wanted the cycle to feel less like entertainment and more like a sacred journey, a visual scripture of Slavic identity, suffering, and hope. Using muted, earthy tones inspired by ancient murals and folk traditions, he created a dreamlike, timeless atmosphere. History remembered as something sacred. The Great Moravia, Prince Rastislav invited Cyril and Methodius from Byzantium. They created the Glagolitic script, translated the Gospels, and gave the Slavs their own liturgy. Methodius is appointed by Archbishop, while Frankish knights look on. Symbolic figures connect Moravia to other Slavic lands, showing Christianity as a safe harbor for all Slavs and the birth of a shared spiritual identity. The painting has Byzantine-inspired composition. I can recognize the Hagia Sophia church from Thessaloniki in the background. I love the golden light and strong contrasts of solemn figures and folk costume details. Mucha saw the Slav epic as a gift of education and inspiration, portraying the spiritual and cultural struggles of the Slavic people. It was unveiled in 1928 to mark the 10th anniversary of Czechoslovakia founding, but critics dismissed it as too nationalistic, old-fashioned, and romanticized. The art establishment, leaning towards modernism, cubism, and abstraction, often rejected it as propaganda. Later, the Nazis labeled it dangerous national symbolism, and the communists sidelined it for not fitting socialist realism. Despite this, the public continued to love the epic, and for decades it remained a national treasure without a home. In part 2, we'll explore more of my favorite canvases, and we will see how visiting these places connected me not only to Mucha, but also to my own family history. Don't miss it next week.